is what then Congressman Hogan said in 1973.
The Constitution and my own oath of office demand that I bear true faith and allegiance to the principles of law and justice upon which this nation was founded. And I cannot in good conscience turn away from the evidence of evil that is to me so clear and compelling.
That was former Congressman Lawrence Hogan of Maryland, the father of Maryland's governor, Larry Hogan, Lawrence Hogan Jr., speaking back in 1973. Do you think that we should expect to see another Hogan moment in this proceeding?
Well, that was a moral choice on the part of Congressman Hogan. That was, as he mentioned, overcame any party loyalty that he never had. And so I think it's the morality of the thing that it will be the center of the question when it gets to the Senate in the Trump proceeding. That at that point, much more in a way than the votes of the congressmen, the votes of the senators in the Senate trial is effectively a moral choice.
No, I think that Republicans in the House would argue that the moral choice has already been made by the Democrats not to follow proper procedure, that they're so gung-ho on impeaching the president and in doing this however they want to do it without going through proper channels, procedures, without making it bipartisan, that the real moral choice is to make sure the process is done right and it's not motivated by the political animus of Democrats.
Yes, well, that's a bit of grandstanding, isn't it? It has been followed properly, and as I argued before, it should have been done in executive session so as to avoid this very kind of grandstanding. Now we're going to move, once the evidence is gathered, to the more public stage of the thing, and that's when the proceeding is going to become much more solemn.
Let me get to some questions from our listeners. Katina asked, what has changed in impeachment from the 70s to now? Has it become more lenient?
No, I don't know what that would mean exactly. I mean, the Founding Fathers referred to this as the grand inquest of the nation. That's a very grand term, and it is applied to the three different this is a very solemn process that we are witnessing. In some ways, I would argue that we're very ultimately alive, because the religion we started the moment when it happened, because some of the very solemn impeachment is whatever the politicians decide it is going to be. The Supreme Court did weigh in case on the question of the release of tapes, and the president, Nixon, went down and that was unanimously by the Supreme Court that he must release documents. That if we moved forward into the actual Judiciary Committee hearings, the question of defiance or subpoenas became a third article of impeachment. That's very relevant to what we'll see in the next 6 weeks.
It's interesting that when Barbara Jordan spoke in 1974 during the Watergate hearing, she cited some of what the founders said in terms of how they viewed impeachment. The Carolina ratification said that those are impeachable who behave amiss or betray their public trust. The Constitutional Convention said a president is impeachable usual to pervert the Constitution. So it's not like the way the founders intended.
Deals with depression.
The letter of some law and more about the principle. Do we still trust you to uphold your oath?
Yeah, The F is the important thing here, and very relevant to the Ukraine scandal. The words that in the presidential oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and to take care that the laws of the United States are faithfully executed. I have been arguing that that is the category for the Ukraine scandal, that it should be really a fourth category of articles of impeachment solely unto itself.
We'll continue our conversation in just a moment with James Reston Jr., the author of The Impeachment Diary. Frank tweeted, Reston played a key role with David Frost in getting Nixon to eventually say sorry. Does he think Trump will ever say sorry? You did advise David Frost with those famous interviews that later became a play, that later became a movie. If you've seen the movie, James was the Sam Rockwell character. That's who we're talking to. But we'd like to talk to you too with your questions about this process and how it compares to Watergate. 1A@WAMU.org. I'm Joshua Johnson, and you're listening to 1A from WAMU and NPR.
And this is WHYY, your NPR member station. Join us later today for the why Pennsylvania has proposed a new measure that would give crime victims more rights. The ACLU is pushing back, saying the measure is unconstitutional and could compromise the rights of the accused. We'll explain more on the why at 5:45 this evening on WHYY FM.
Supporting WHYY B3 Vintage, presenting the Great American Guitar Show November 2nd and 3rd at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center in Oaks. New and vintage musical instruments and more. Doors open at 10 a.m. Info at b3vintage.com. And Pennsylvania Ballet, continuing its 2019-2020 season with 3 world premieres created especially for Pennsylvania Ballet by famed choreographers Garrett Smith, Giuliano Nunez, and Yin Yu. You can be among the first to see these new works November 7th through the 10th at the Merriam Theater. Information and tickets at paballet.org or 215-893-1999. That's paballet.org or 215-893-1999.
I'm Jeremy Hobson, reporting from London this week about the latest developments on Brexit. In the U.S., Congress is poised to take a vote on the impeachment inquiry in response to Republicans who've criticized the inquiry as an improper process. And we'll have the latest on the fires in California. That's all next time on Here and Now. This afternoon from 1 to 3 on WHYY.
Support for NPR comes from this station and from Progressive Insurance, offering its Home Quote Explorer so shoppers can evaluate options in one place when buying home insurance. Custom quotes and rates are available online. Learn more at progressive.com. From Noom, offering a personalized weight loss program based on a cognitive behavioral approach with the goal of losing weight and keeping it off for good. Learn more at Noom, Noom.com. And from the listeners who support this NPR station.
This is 1A. I'm Joshua Johnson. We're speaking with author James Reston. His latest book is called The Impeachment Diary. Previously, Mr. Reston helped David Frost prepare for his historic TV interviews with President Richard Nixon. He also consulted with playwright Peter Morgan in the development of the play Frost-Nixon, which dramatized those interviews, and Frost-Nixon was adapted into a movie starring Michael Sheen as David Frost and Frank Langella as Richard Nixon.
Are you really saying that in certain situations the president can decide whether it's in the best interest of the nation and then do something illegal?
I'm saying that when the president does it, that means it's not illegal. That's what I believe. But I realize no one else shares that view.
Those were Frank Langella as Richard Nixon and Michael Sheen as David Frost in the film Frost-Nixon, one of my all-time favorite political movies. If you have not seen Frost-Nixon, that is your homework after the show. But we welcome more of your questions and thoughts about impeachment then and now. Comment on our Facebook page, tweet us at 1A, or email 1A@WAMU.org. James, there's another pushback to the process as it stands. I don't know if this came up in 73, 74, but it's part of the argument that many of the president's political supporters have made, including Senator Lindsey Graham, a Republican from South Carolina.
All I'm asking is give Donald Trump the same rights as Richard Nixon and Bill Clinton had when it comes to impeachment, and I'm insisting that Donald Trump be given the same rights every American has if you're given a parking ticket. To confront the witnesses against you can't be based on hearsay. Any impeachment vote based on this process, to me, is illegitimate, is unconstitutional, and should be dismissed in the Senate without a trial.
So Lindsey Graham is arguing that the process itself is unfair. The president has the right to face his accuser. Currently, one of the president's accusers is a whistleblower, so no, the president does not have the right to face that person. Indeed, that's the point of being a whistleblower. But I understand the argument the senator is making is that this is kind of a bigger deep state push to take on a president who's taken on the establishment. What about that?
Well, there are two parts to that statement. The first part I agree with entirely, that Donald Trump should be given every rights that Bill Clinton and Richard Nixon had, and he is going to be given those same rights. We're about to move exactly into that part of the process.
I'm sorry, pause on that. Clarify that. What rights are we talking about? Elaborate.
The right for the opposition, or the Republican opposition, to make their case as vigorously as they possibly can. They've been able to make that case as vigorously as possible, as they possibly can in executive session. The Republicans have been there. They've been allowed to interrogate witnesses. So they're going to have that right. They're going to have, a special counsel the way Nixon had. So Trump's side is going to fully get its day in court, if that's the right phrase. The other part of it, that it's illegal and unconstitutional and so forth, is